The destroyer is still on station. Its radar is active, its engines are running, its crew is alert. From the outside, nothing looks wrong. If you were watching from another ship, or from a satellite overhead, you'd see a fully operational warship holding position, doing exactly what it was ordered to do. No damage, no fires, no emergency signals. But below deck, something has already gone wrong. The vertical launch cells are empty, not damaged, not jammed, simply empty. The ship has done what it was sent to do. It fired its missiles, it defended airspace, it deterred threats. And now, despite taking no hits and suffering no mechanical failure, it is finished as a fighting ship. It can still sail, it can still see, it can still track targets, but it cannot engage another one. And that is the part most people miss about modern naval warfare. Because modern warships do not reload at sea. They can't. To reload, the ship needs a pier. Not just any pier. One reinforced enough to handle the stress of a multi-thousand-ton hull pressing against it. It needs a crane rated for precision munitions handling. That crane has to lift a 3,000-pound missile high above the deck and lower it into a launch cell with almost no margin for error. If the crane sways, the missile strikes the deck. If that happens, the ship risks detonating its own magazine. So reloading only happens in port. And that single constraint quietly decides how long a navy can stay in the fight. The ship remains on station. Orders keep coming in. Intelligence updates continue to flow. The radar keeps sweeping the horizon. The crew goes through the same motions, the same checks, the same watch rotations. But everyone on board knows what the operations center knows. This ship is now presence, not firepower. It is holding space until someone else rotates in. It is waiting for the order that sends it away from the fight, not because it lost, but because it can no longer participate. When the order finally comes, the transit begins. The port it needs isn't empty. Other ships are already queued. The same pier that can reload this destroyer is the pier several others need as well. The crane that can handle vertical launch systems works on shifts, not on urgency. The ship arrives, it moors, it waits. This is how modern naval power actually bleeds away, quietly, in queues and schedules and infrastructure bottlenecks that never make headlines. At first, the problem is invisible. A carrier strike group can cross an ocean and project overwhelming force. Aircraft launch continuously. Escorts screen the perimeter. Oilers refuel ships underway. From a distance, the operation looks sustainable, even routine. But underneath that appearance, the math is already working against it. Every missile fired reduces a fixed inventory that cannot be replaced at sea. Every air sortie consumes parts that wear down faster than most people realize. Tires degrade, hydraulic seals weaken, turbine blades accumulate stress that can't be seen until something fails. The carrier carries spares, but only so many. As operations continue, aircraft start waiting, not because they're damaged, but because something small is missing. A component, a tool, a diagnostic unit that's already in use somewhere else on the ship. The backlog grows. Maintenance crews start making choices. One aircraft is grounded so another can keep flying. Then another, then another. Readiness rates don't collapse all at once, they slide. A squadron rated for 12 flight hours per day drops to 8, then 6, then 4. Not because the carrier was hit, not because fuel ran out, but because parts did. Those parts aren't manufactured at sea, they're stored on land. They move through ports, warehouses, sorting facilities, and loading zones that only exist ashore. Without access to a functioning port, readiness doesn't fail dramatically. It degrades slowly, then all at once. Fuel stretches the clock, but it doesn't stop it. A destroyer burns enormous amounts of fuel just holding position. At higher speeds, consumption spikes. A carrier consumes far more, and its escorts multiply the demand. Replenishment oilers extend endurance, but oilers themselves have limits. They need fuel too, and they get it in port. Each replenishment cycle depends on the same infrastructure. If ports are close, the cycle is tight. If ports are distant, oilers spend more time in transit than delivering fuel. The gap between deliveries grows. At some point, the math stops working. You need more oilers to sustain the same presence, but fleets don't magically grow new logistics ships. Instead, commanders reduce the number of warships they can keep forward. The fleet doesn't disappear. It becomes slower, less flexible, less relevant. And then there is the crew.
Warships operate continuously. Crews rotate through watch cycles that compress rest into narrow windows. Over time, reaction speeds drop. Decision quality degrades. Small mistakes begin to stack. A system takes longer to calibrate. A maintenance task slips to the next shift. A minor issue becomes a longer delay. Nothing catastrophic happens, and that's the danger. Fatigue doesn't announce itself with alarms. It shows up in slower responses and longer recovery times. The ship keeps operating, but everything takes more effort. Ports are the only place crews can rotate, recover, and reset. A ship can stay at sea longer, a crew cannot. By now, the pattern should be clear. Modern navies do not collapse when ships are sunk. They collapse when ports become unusable. Adversaries understand this. They don't need to destroy fleets to neutralize them. They only need to make ports risky, unreliable, or politically unavailable. Mines near harbor approaches, missiles positioned along coastlines, submarines loitering just far enough offshore. Even the threat of disruption is often enough. Ships wait, traffic slows, schedules slip. Each delay forces fleets farther from the fight. Distance becomes a weapon. Every extra day of transit is a day the mission cannot continue. Every additional ship increases the strain on the same limited infrastructure. The system doesn't scale linearly, it compounds. A fleet operating from several ports can absorb a loss. A fleet operating from only a few cannot. And there are not dozens of ports capable of supporting modern naval operations. There are only a handful. Each one takes years to build, billions of dollars to fund. Deep water, reinforced piers, precision cranes, fuel pipelines, secure communications, housing for the people who keep the system running. A navy can lose access to a port in minutes. It cannot replace that port in anything less than years. That asymmetry decides modern wars. Destroying ships is hard. Denying access is cheap. And once access is denied, time does the rest. This is why ports are not just logistics, they are strategy. They determine who can stay and who has to leave. And staying, not winning battles, not sinking ships, is what decides modern wars. Everything else is just still drifting at sea.